What'd you think of the hour in the Oval Office earlier today?
Yeah.
Oh,
what a joy, right?
You know, after 40 minutes of calm conversation.
Yeah, reasonable, right? For 40 minutes?
Went off the rails.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what we're talking about.
Congratulations, first off.
Of ignoring the crazy. But there was an all-out brawl. It erupted in the Oval Office. You know, we knew that Ukrainian President Zelenskyy was going to be in D.C., and Donald Trump and President Zelenskyy, you know, they go to the Oval Office. They're sitting in the two yellow chairs, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the media is in front of them. And 40 minutes in, all-out brawl.
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have? Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories. Do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
All right. Then Trump got into it.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right.
By the way, this is all live on television.
Of course it is.
With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. Yeah, you're playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
Have you said thank you once?
A lot of times.
No, in this
even
entire
today,
meeting, you said thank you.
Even today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
I don't think anyone's ever seen anything like that.
Fair.
I've never seen anything like that. I don't know if this was planned. Part of me says that it wasn't, because if Trump and his vice president
Vance,
if J.D. Vance wanted to do this, why'd they wait 40 minutes? Maybe something that Zelenskyy said ticked them off. I don't know. But you and I were talking about this earlier. I didn't like what I saw. Did you like what you saw?
I think it was disgusting.
Let's bring on Chad Benson. He talks about this kind of stuff all night. When you and I leave at 7, the Chad Benson Show comes on the air. We figured let's kick this around. Joining us now is Chad Benson. Hey, Chad, how are you?
What's up, super best friend?
Hey, super best friend. That's exactly right. So when you saw this
can
earlier...
Can I just say something, Gator?
Yes.
You didn't get dressed up for me today.
He's watching me on the...
Just saying.
Well, Bruce definitely dressed up for you.
It's a collared shirt for you today, Chadwick.
That's right. All right.
What a spectacle, boys. Can we just say that?
Fair.
Yeah.
That was the best way to describe it. Look, and I am not a fan of the diplomacy and the way that it was handled. I'm not saying what he said was wrong 100%, but I'm not thrilled by the way it took place and where it took place.
Yeah, it's out in front of everybody. I mean, the thing that I was trying to figure out is what part of this conversation did the president and our vice president think got disrespectful with Zelenskyy? That's what I'm trying to find.
Why did it start going downhill?
Where did it go downhill? Because you watched the whole thing. Bruce and I watched the whole thing, Chad.
You know, I don't know where it went down. I think it went downhill the minute he got out of the car and he said, "Oh, I see you dressed up for this." And I think Trump was looking for something, and I felt like he was waiting for something at some point in time, and once that little exchange came, it was a nightmare with him and Vance, and it just went south really quick, and you could see him go from orange to red.
Fair. Takes me a second to get some of those. I hope you're okay with that. I'm gonna, it's like the Doppler effect of jokes. I see it and then I react to it. Chad Benson joining us right now. Where do you go from here? Is it irrevocable? Is this broken? Is Ukraine going to have to go somewhere else?
Well, I think this was as much for the Europeans, guys, as well. That you guys are going to have to put up a little bit here. And I don't have a problem with some of that stuff. I mean, he had Keir Starmer there yesterday. He is pushing for you guys to go and do more stuff. So, and the Europeans are already speaking out about it's the most despicable thing, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if it's totally destroyed. I think their relationship it was always non-existent. So I think that's a bit destroyed. But I do think that at this moment in time, it's got to be behind the scenes because there's no way this can happen. I mean, there's been stuff that's happened before, but it's all behind closed doors. So
right.
I don't think this is repairable at all. And we'll see. I mean, I think he wants minerals. He's already looks like he's got a deal with Russia and some minerals.
You mean Putin? Trump wants minerals.
Trump already has a deal with some of the stuff taken from the land, and he wants some of that other stuff. I don't know where we go from here at this point in time. I want it to come to an end. We have spent a lot of money, and there could have been times this thing could have been put to bed. And the West is some to blame in this because we did encroach. We didn't like when Cuba and Soviet Union were playing footsie. They shouldn't like that we were playing footsie with Ukraine. But we've got to put this thing to bed. And the money is, it is crazy. And I don't want the Ukrainians to have to give up a lot. But the fact is, Russia has unlimited amount of people comparatively to what Ukraine has. And at some point in time, attrition wins.
Zelenskyy versus Trump in the Oval Office today. Chad Benson is joining us. We're kind of kicking this around. So the part that I see is that if you voted for Trump, you liked what you saw today. America first. Where was Trump in the right today, do you think, Chad? Because the three of us we don't like that it was played out like this on television. But was Trump, he wasn't all wrong today. Where was he at some parts in the right? Right.
I think at some parts in the right, there was no doubt that he wanted Biden or Kamala to win. There's no doubt about that. I think there is no doubt that he hasn't been as thankful as I think a lot of people here in America maybe would like him to be. Even some of my friends who are super liberal think, you know what, he's kind of become this superstar rock star guy when, everybody else is kind of propping him up, and it's really his people that are doing all the fighting. And I think Trump is right a lot. Obama gave blankets. I gave you javelins. And I think there was definitely some personal stuff there today.
Well, this goes back to this goes back to him asking for him to dig up dirt on Biden. Oh, the first impeachment. Absolutely. I mean, he doesn't like him for that, to say the least, because Zelenskyy didn't go along with that plot back in the day.
100%,
Perfect phone call.
100%.
Perfect phone call.
Right. I forgot about that.
Best
you forgot about that.
I forgot about that for a second. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think there's personal.
I think a lot of Americans also forgot that in 1994 we made Ukraine give up its nuclear weapons, and we did it in return for security. We said, you give up your nuclear weapons and we will keep you safe from the Russians. What country would ever believe us ever again? And what country would be stupid enough to give up their nucir weapons?
Never. That's the one thing I tell everybody. You've learned anything from this, never give your weapons up.
Well, don't trust the United States is really what it comes down to, sadly.
It's of Europe, too. It wasn't just us who signed on to that, and everybody else turned a blind eye because we all have, that was the old guy. That was 30 years ago.
Yeah, I didn't sign that deal. Yeah.
Is Vladimir Putin the big winner today after this whole mess?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 100%.
They're having parties.
It is, but, here's the thing about Putin. You look around, he needs an off-ramp. Trump's giving him an off-ramp. What does he have that Zelenskyy doesn't have besides the minerals? He's got nuclear weapons. He's still the big dog. He's got more sway in this. And land was always, we've talked to Mike Lyons, we were doing the show together at Gatos. This was always going to be land for peace at some point in time. It's how much land is he going to have? But Putin should be playing this on a loop 24/7.
I just don't think it's the position of the President of the United States to negotiate away Ukrainian land. I use this as an example. Change the word Ukraine to Israel. Should Israel be forced to give up parts of its land because an aggressor invaded and they shed lots of blood there? Should Israel surrender to avoid any more bloodshed? No, of course not. Nobody thinks that. So why should Ukraine give up an inch?
Well, that's fine. They don't have to give it. I mean,
I don't think they will.
If they don't want to give up an inch, that's fine. But why do I have to pay for them to fight for a war in perpetuity?
Yeah, fair.
So where do we go from here? Does Ukraine ever get any more money from us, meaning Trump? And can they hold off Russia without us?
If Europe jumps in, they can hold off Russia, but only for so long. And whatever money's allocated, that's pretty much it, I think, at this point in time.
I think there's also you could certainly make the argument that Europe needs to take a much bigger role in this because Europe is much more at risk of a Putin who just decides which countries he wants to invade and when he wants to invade them, and knowing the world won't do anything about it. And, I think Europe should be taking this a lot more seriously than maybe they are.
Oh, 100%. I mean, if you think about it, guys, they're in their back door. If Mexico invades us, I mean, yes, NATO is supposed to get into it, but we're not looking over going, oh, Europe, come and help us. We're going to handle these things ourselves. At some point in time, you need to pay a little bit more attention to what's going on. And that's in your backyard. And the only one who seems to have over the last few years has been Poland.
Yeah. Well, because they're next. They're next. They know how they know how this story goes.
Yeah. The one thing that's been taught about all of this, though, is he's got a lot of men, but he's a paper tiger. And the Poles are itching for a fight. And I don't think he wants any part of that because they're a lot more well-heeled than the Ukrainians.
You mean Putin, that one, yeah.
Yeah, I think, though, at this point in time, the big winner is that. And he's going to have to give up land. How much land he's going to give up. And if he doesn't want to, again, God bless you. Go fight it.
Does Russia? I wonder if Russia has to give up the land that Ukraine took up in the northern part when they invaded into Russia. Do they have to give that part up? My guess is no. I don't like being on the side of Russia. Full stop. Period. Now, at no point will I ever be on the Russian side. I've never come up with any reason for it.
No, I'm not a fan. Look, the only thing I will say is we should never have continued to play the wacky footsie stuff with them joining NATO. That should have never been a no-go. We don't like the fact that the Cubans and the Soviets were getting close and putting stuff there. That caused a crisis. They felt that. Okay, fine. We can all move on. You're never getting into NATO, and we're all going to move on with our lives.
All right, Chad Benson.
Appreciate it, Chadwick.
Our great buddy. You'll hear him tonight at 7, the craziness from the White House. Good to talk to you, Chad. We'll talk to you again, man.
I'll talk to you later. Love you guys. Hey, Bruce. Arsenal. Yeah, go Gooners.
Oh, God, thank you.
There you go.
Gotta get a little soccer talk in there at some point, right?
Chad Benson coming up at 7 o'clock tonight.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gatos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.